The Winnebago Concepts and Engineering Departments have developed a multifunctional bathroom. Privacy, I don't even know what the fuck I'm reading.
I wonder what the fuck the real dialogue is.
What the fuck is this thing?
All of the windshield, for fuck's sake.
Oh, fuck. What the fuck did I say?
That didn't sound for shit, did it?
And here, under the hood, we've stored something that'll really come in handy if it doesn't fall out and break my leg. Ah! What we're doing is we're building a fucking industrial film. Trying to give these guys everything they can get to me. And that's it. Fuck it. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. We suppose we open... Gotta do it again, right now. Oh, fuck. 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 Oh, fuck. Shit. Tony, do me a favor, will you please? Will you? Will you do me a kindness?
Leave.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be walking in and out if you're going to fuck up and I got to come back.
I don't make any difference to me at this juncture. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Tony. Don't slam the fucking door. No more.
There's no words there. There's no words on it.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
I've never seen that. Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there. Okay. Take it away. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Go. What's that mean? To play us out? Fuck it. To end the show? Yeah.
The stream ended?
Yeah, we fucked up. All right, everybody, welcome to Dark Horse Live, episode 144. Sorry about the stream right there. The internet is being real shitty at the moment. It was like coming in fucking 10p. So,
Oh, wow.
Looks like it's better now. Also, I turned the gain up on all the microphones, so either we shouldn't have to talk as loud, or it should be louder for you guys. So let us know about the audio if it's a little bit better, worse, let us know. But right off the top of the show, something happened today that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, this has kind of been all over the place, but based on a news report from Bloomberg earlier this morning, the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, has recommended to the Drug Enforcement Agency, better known as the DEA, that marijuana should be reclassified as a Schedule III drug under the Controlled Substance Act. The HHS recommends to reschedule marijuana as a result of a focus study following directive from President Biden last year to expediently review how marijuana should be scheduled. And obviously I have some thoughts on this. This is kind of crazy to me. The fact that we're talking about rescheduling marijuana to Schedule III, which if you're not familiar with what a Schedule III drug is, it kind of puts it squarely in the grasp of pharmaceutical drugs. And essentially what it's saying, it has some medical benefit, but it has to be sold through and distributed through pharmacies and prescriptions from doctors, and essentially all dispensaries would need to convert in some form to a pharmacy, and all grows would need to convert to in some form to some plant medicine cleanly grow facility of some sort to be able to produce these pharmaceutical type what have you. So with that said, my position on it is this is stupid as fuck. So I see some people celebrating this as like a positive thing. I don't see it as a positive thing at all. The one benefit that they see is this will then end the federal like issue state to state, all that kind of shit, and it also end 280E issues with taxation, banking, lending, all these other issues potentially could get fixed through this rescheduling. But my position would be descheduling, obviously, is just a way fucking better way to go. We talk about making cannabis something similar to alcohol and tobacco and treating it as such and consuming it as such, taxing it as such. But to put it into a Schedule III format, to me, would be a fucking nightmare and something that this administration is looking at doing potentially on the way out the door. And I think it would be the worst. I mean, we don't do politics on this show, but if this dude does this, he'd be the worst fucking president of all time. So you can't really allow a country to come online, 40-something states or whatever the fuck it is, develop and build infrastructures, and then reschedule to give it to Big Pharma, and just hand it over to Big Pharma. Like, to me, it's like they drove the price down so far on this and made it so overregulated to the point where it's almost worthless. And now you're going to turn around and throw it to Big Pharma. It's like, this is a giant fuck you to all of us. If I'm getting it wrong, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if I'm missing something here or what the benefit of going Schedule 3 is that I'm missing. But I don't like the looks of it at all. But with that said, welcome to Dark Horse Live, episode 144. Bring Caesar in, I think. There he is. You have thoughts on Schedule 3, Caesar?
Feel the same way about this. Kind of knew that it was going to get to a point where medical cannabis, the whole medical side was going to eventually be retired because rescheduling was going to happen to something like this where it's going to eventually be sold at Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS. And
they also said, sorry to interrupt you, they also said that this would be the end of home grows. I mean, it never will be the end of home grows. I'm with you guys out there, but at the same time, this would make home growing federally illegal all across the board.
Then that means the prices go back up.
Yeah, black market returns strong as ever, strong as ever. But I just think it's just bad all around. But sorry, continue.
There's a lot of people not fit to go back if it does go back that way. They're just gonna be like, nah, fuck that. I'm not gonna take the risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, if weed happens to be sold at Walgreens, medical cannabis is completely expired every state around. It's only recreational. Then it's gonna turn into shit because we all know what the fuck that's gonna turn into. Like, we don't want fucking government-grown fucking cannabis.
Well, the way I see it happening is like, okay, say this happens in Colorado specifically, this micro market that I'm looking at. Say this happens specifically. Okay, who's going to be the pharmacies that take over? Is it going to be like the biggest MSO chains become a pharmacy, and there's only a couple of dispensaries in the state, and then of those dispensaries, they pick one or two massive providers that provide all the pot. So now you're down to huge corporations, huge companies, 2 grows in the whole state, and a chain of pharmacies that sell the shit. It's fucking bad all around. This is the opposite of craft growing and microbrewing, and there'll always be a microbrewer. There'll always be craft cannabis. Not under Schedule 3. I don't believe there'll be any craft cannabis. There's no room for craft cannabis. So
when you go, there's a bunch of different kinds of acetaminophen. There's a bunch of different kinds of ibuprofen. I mean, they all do the same thing. But there's different name brands out there.
Except it's not over the counter. Even if it was an over the counter drug, which is what you could technically call it right now, but this would remove essentially rec. Like this takes rec away, and we go back to medical only. So also you'd have to need a medical ailment to do this. There is no recreational, consumption anymore at all. It would be, I have a prescription from the pharmacy or from the doctor. And to me, that's just going backwards. This is what we did out in this country, or in this state, 2008. It's like, why would we go back to that?
Good luck.
Yeah, I also
There's already
say
too many
good
grows.
luck. Yeah, you want to talk about, like, marching on the Capitol and shit. You'd have a lot of pissed off fucking cannabis farmers in this country if you tried to Schedule 3 this whole deal. And I think it'd be the worst move this administration could possibly make. And I don't think they're a very liked administration in the first place. So, but with that said, let's move it on. We have an official in-studio guests today. I'm really stoked on it. Actually, our boy Stone Ninja hooked this one up a little bit for us, and he was talking about Organishield, and he said, and I didn't know this, we were going to have him on the show, and it turns out they're from Colorado, or they're from up north in Colorado, Fort Collins area. So I said, why don't you guys come down to the studio? And even more surprising, when they came in the studio today, I heard an Australian accent, which I got wrong. I thought it was New Zealand, but we got an official Aussie in the studio today, and I don't know if you know this, but there's a shit ton of Australians that watch this show. So without further ado, let's just bring them in. We have, the buttons are working slow today. We have Nathan from Organishield. I also need to edit this. It was Holt, right?
Yes.
So Nathan and Holt. Holt is your first name? That's
Holt's my first name.
That's a cool name.
Thanks.
Let me edit this real quick. Welcome to the program, you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
So if you would, just give us the briefest rundown of each of you. We always ask people your first cannabis experience, but if you want, just tell us who you are and why you're in the studio today. We don't have to get all into Organishield, but give us a rundown of your history. Where'd you guys come from?
Yeah, I'll start. This is
Make
crazy.
sure you lean right into that mic. Yeah.
How's this? Is all right?
Yep. Perfect.
Interesting journey, mate. It's actually I came across through a mutual friend. I'm a very, very late cannabis user. I'm 49 and I started smoking about 4 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the fray, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It was a very, very interesting experience. I had a very healthy, athletic upbringing, and I think when I got to here in the States, I think I got very comfortable with American food.
Sure. I'm sorry to interrupt real quick.
Shrink my camera.
But yeah, I got you. Did they have like a DARE program in Australia where like they scared you guys away? If you were an athlete, kind of like I was an athlete as a kid, and up till my teenage years and everything, like weed was the devil. Like you don't do that shit unless you're a loser if you're trying to be an athlete. So I'm kind of curious as to what does Australia teach their youth when they come through elementary or grade school?
Okay, so you've got a norm and you've got how I was brought up, and my background's very unique. My alternative medicine was a very big part of my life, being raised. So my mum's a naturopath, and so I was raised very much, no drugs, no drugs, no drugs, no drugs, and I pretty much stuck to it, and I was racing at a pretty high level in triathlons, and it was one of those. It's not so much a scare tactic, but if you place at a certain if you place, it's an automatic drug test. And I had mates that failed at fucking I can say fucking.
Oh yeah, you say whatever. You can smoke, you can drink, you can cuss. I don't care what the fuck you do.
Man, all right, you're gonna hear me dropping off fucking a hell of a lot of F-bombs. Right, so I got mates who are incredible athletes, right? And they got busted 12 months. So that's a big, if you're dedicating hours a day, that's a pretty big scare tactic. And so, my journey over here, man, I just, got married, had a bunch of kids, and put on a little bit of weight.
You a footballer or rugby?
No, mate, I was a runner.
Runner.
Yeah.
So you needed your breath anyway and your lungs anyway.
Right. And so, got involved with an incredible nutrient company out of Australia, and through that path, I started being more aware. I came on a marketing background, not a grassroots background of cannabis. So, I started, being influenced a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start smoking and using cannabis more for the medical portions. I want to see not the one-offs, right? And again, this is just a perspective from my age, my generation, and so I started doing it more regularly. And you go through those little, But what I figured out was I was more specific in the types of foods I was actually wanting to munch on. And I lost 47 pounds.
Really?
In about a year.
That's like the opposite of what most people would say with cannabis. It's like, oh, you start smoking grass, you're going to get fat.
But happy to share photos, man. I'm going to show you that. It's incredible. You look, I was on a cruise with my wife. We're just doing a vacation. I'm doing these vacation photos. I'm like, damn, I'm looking at, is there a filter on this thing or something? What the hell? You don't realize because it's slow, right? Yeah. So anyway, that was my little introduction to cannabis.
Sure.
But obviously, with the stores and the stuff that I do now, for the most part, I'm a sales rep.
Sure.
And speaking with stores, growers.
Sure.
I love sharing a lot of information.
We'll get into the product here shortly.
Sure,
I'm curious, Holt,
Sure.
What was your kind of journey into this?
Wow. Okay, Mom, I hope you're not listening. But, basically, my first experience with cannabis was when I was about 15. And, we did have DARE. I grew up in a little small town in Tennessee that if you blinked, you missed it. And, I remember I tried it, and the first time, this is a lot of people's experience, the first time I smoked a joint, or that was the first style of taking in cannabis, I didn't get high.
Yep.
The second time, I was fucked up.
Yeah, that was my experience too.
Yeah, in the cotton.
Many people say this.
Yeah, and then I got interested in it because I really liked it, and so I've been kind of a weed nerd, so to speak. I had every big book of buds and everything from back then, and I'm 54, so I'm a little older than this guy, and so it's kind of been I've kind of been an underground smoker, and then I remember what cracks me up about the way things are today, and I moved to Colorado in '97 from Tennessee, but I remember back in the day, and I always make this joke with him because I look at these guys that are new, it's like, you're a weed snob. I'm like, you're not a true pothead until you have scraped the resin out of the bowl to get high, or you have done the MacGyver and took the can and made it into the fucking bong, and you know what I'm talking about. You live.
Dude, I'm embarrassed to admit.
I'm proud of it.
I mean, both. I'm both. I agree with you. But I am embarrassed to admit this. I'll do it right now. When we were hard up in high school for pot, and we almost smoked swag exclusively, even no matter what, anyway. But when we were hard up for high school or for pot in high school, and no one in the fucking town had it, you just couldn't find it. It was drier than fuck.
Yeah.
We would take our pipes boil them in the pot on a camp stove out in the field somewhere, strain that shit out over coffee filters just to get that black resin goop shit, smore it into a ball, and smoke the most disgusting hits you have ever smoked. But I swear to fuck, it gets you higher than shit. But it's basically smoking reclaim. But these were times when these are times that like our children will never know. Because there's a dispensary on every fucking corner nowadays, and it's like
Starbucks.
You talk about being a pothead and shit. It's like, motherfucker, have you ever scraped the ass end out of a pipe just to fucking get your one high for the day? Because
Well, I used to make the joke with these guys. I'd be like, we used to go, you got weed? Oh yeah, good, got weed. And then things went along. You got weed? Is it good weed? It's a shit that killed Elvis. Okay. And then it goes along, and now it's like, you got weed? Okay. Well, is it this flavor? Is it diesel? No, I don't have to touch it because it's like the weed snob, and then I just don't appreciate it. I'm like, I'm not prejudiced. I like it all. Some I like diesel better, but I love it all.
I mean, I've been smoking Skittles for 4 years straight. You can ask anybody who knows me, literally for 4 fucking years straight. But I feel like I've earned my stripes to have the ability to sit back and smoke like the best tasting pot after going through a lifetime of like doing what it took to get high. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, sorry, continue.
He still makes fun of me though because we're smoking a joint and it's like, how much left, and he'll and like in my car, I have a bunch of cones and stuff, and so whatever I don't finish, if there's I have a bag. That's my roach bag. And I'm saving that because I know I'll be somewhere and I'll run. It's a habit. I mean, I think we all. It's just.
I don't do it anymore, but I did. Yeah.
I'm still.
Somehow I've become a snob because I have access to cannabis in a giant warehouse.
I have access too, but I'm just like.
I think it's your habits like motor memory, like muscle memory.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Excellent.
It's all good.
So how did you guys get into plant science? Either one, or how does this friendship come together?
Sure. Actually, I'll let him.
Yeah, I'm very unknowledgeable. Remember my background, right? It's not in this space. And when I got into the place that I was at with this company, my skill set isn't this. So Holt was a lot more of the grower, background stuff. So I utilized him with a lot of knowledge stuff. And over the last, I've been with this company for about 19 years. The last, 2 or 3 years or so, 4 years. What we'll talk about today has brought us a lot closer together, and it's a little bit more of a direction change. Direction shift. Yeah.
So how does this journey kind of start? How do you guys come up with a bug spray? So if you guys don't know what Organishield is, essentially, and correct me when I'm wrong all along the way, because I'm sure I'll be wrong many times.
We will too.
But essentially what we're looking at here is a bug spray and a pesticide, a herbicide, but it's also organic, so therefore this is going to be, is this even need to be on the list of pesticides, or you sell it as a pesticide? Is it a leaf polish? What are we talking?
Well, consider it this way. Anything it's like you make a claim. I say this kills bugs. If I say water kills bugs, then I have to validate it, and then I can call it an insecticide or pesticide or whatever, by the government, by the regulatory bureaucracy bullshit that we all live with. So technically, this is a food. It's a sugar ester.
Pull that just a little bit closer to the mic.
This way?
Pull the microphone just a little bit closer to you.
Like that? Okay. It's technically a sugar ester that's naturally occurring. So the molecule in this is called sucrose octanoate. And sucrose octanoate is secreted on the trichomes of the wild tobacco plant, the wild yam plant, and a couple other plants that actually use it as a natural bug defense in really, really small
naturally
quantities.
Occurring.
Oh, yes, naturally occurring. Yeah, nature makes it. We didn't invent it. Nature did this. We just had people who copied it on a massive scale to do it. So the challenge was it just didn't make commercially feasible to grow these plants and try to extract it because it's such small, minute quantities. So the science was, and I'm not the science guy on this was people who did the patenting and how to make this on a scale to bring it to a commercial viable. So this is a concentrate, it's a 40% sucrose octanoate. The other 60% is water.
Yep.
And so when it gets made, it's made in a super concentrate at over 90%, but the EPA spec, because we're all slaves to the government, is at 40, and that's what we put it out in. And then you take this and you'll dilute it down to like 1 or 2%, and then spray it on the plants.
So talk to me about this sugar. You call that estes?
No, it's a sugar ester.
Ester.
Sucrose ester. So I'll give you just to give you a concept of sugar esters. So sugar esters, not our molecule, but it's a classification of molecules. They're fatty acid molecules. So an example is in your chewing gum, in your cosmetics, and a lot of your food emulsifiers that emulsify the food and makes basically fat and emulsify together, are sugar esters. And so they have a food safe rating. It's like ice cream and cottage cheese are both milk products, but they're not milk. But they, same components.
Gotcha.
So it shares that same. We have a at the Code of Federal Regulations, which is this. I don't know how big the book is. This has a tolerance exemption in and on all food commodities. So if there was residue left over, which it breaks down so fast, there's not. But you could eat it,
It's
basically.
safe,
Yeah, your dog could lick after you spray. Your dog, your cat could lick it. It's not going to hurt them. Actually, I don't know if we should go to that part what Jeff's doing. Oh, we won't go there. Okay, sorry. There's a whole other thing on ingestion that's good. But anyway.
So you're not going to drink that in front of me, are you?
I could, but I won't. But I could. It's that safe. So anyway, I'm sorry if I get off track. So keep asking me for more questions so it keeps me on the focus. I apologize.
Just as far as what is special that was identified in these tobacco and yam plants?
Okay, sure.
This ester that
you
were...
It's a sugar ester. Well, let me give you a broader perspective. There's a reason that it's a sucrose octanoate. If I would go to the history, in the 80s and 90s, they were studying the effects of sugar esters, and they thought there might be some potential for, as far as a insecticide type properties because of how it functions, and I'll talk to you about the mode of action here in a second. So what they did was they studied every sugar ester natural occurring. They even invented one called sorbitol, non-natural occurring, but that's a synthetic. And they tested all of them, and as far as a broad, you're familiar with the term broad spectrum, versus what I've found in the insecticide world, especially in bigger ag, it's like a chemical or whatever a product is designed for like this little group of plants and this little group of bugs that attacks it because it's a chemical and it hits their body and does things like that. This is a broad spectrum. It's going to be safe on, I'm going to hedge myself to say 95% of all plants, but I would say really 100, and it will work. It depends on the concentration strength, which we'll go into the mode of action in a second, on how strong you mix it to kill the bug. So like, I'll give you an example. And the label's going to say a certain thing, but I'm just going to tell you real world what we've discovered. So like, are you familiar with a bug called a Japanese beetle? Mm-hmm. Okay. So they're really bad bugs for like horticultural stuff, right? 2% does not kill them. 2.5 kills it dead. But at 2.5, whatever, it still has the same environmental safety protocol. So now, how does it work? This is what we call a contact killer, and it doesn't mean it kills on contact. It means it has to make contact with the bug to kill it. So when it makes contact with a bug, all bugs have this like waxy coating to some extent. Like we have skin. They have waxy coatings that kind of cover them. This essentially, the mode of action is mechanical. It emulsifies the waxy coating, and then they dry out.
Is it specifically soft shell insects?
It's designed for soft body bugs, but what we found, it's not labeled use for this, but we found at higher doses. He was killing grasshoppers in his yard with it at higher doses. So it's just you got to play with the dose to what's to make it whatever you're targeting. Now the other nice thing about it is, from the EPA we have a beneficial soft on beneficial rating. We've had people who we did this test in this grow up close to where he lives. I actually live in Arvada. He lives up in Fort Collins, but they had was a 90,000 square foot indoor hemp grow called Cherry Green Organics. I think they sold it, but they were beneficial only, certified organic. This is also on the National Organic Product List, the active ingredients. So if you're certified organic, you can use it and stay certified organic. So what they were doing, because of the greenhouse effect, they had a spider mite problem, and they were growing hemp, but they weren't flowering it. They had a contract to sell the leaves for Canagars stuff. And so the spider mites had taken over, and they would spray us, and then they said like it knocked it down 90-95%, and then they would release the beneficials, the wasp and everything, and the ladybugs. And I said, did you hit any ladybugs with it? And he goes, yeah. And I said, did it kill any? Because it's not supposed to unless you do really high dose, right? And he said, no, it turned them from red to burnt orange, but they were fine. The other, so is this labeled? If I get off track, just keep me on track. I'm a little ADD. So this label says, I'll just read the label. It's a biochemical miticide insecticide. So mites are different than regular insects. Mites are like arachnids. Ticks are in that class. Spiders in that same class. But mites are, we all know spider mite. And everybody loves the spider mite and russet mite, right? And the red mite over in Mendocino. So it's a it works on all of those, and it has that same safety protocol for all these different bugs. And then also in the environmental side, on the safety side, for those bugs, it's okay. There's a mushroom label that we don't sell under yet. There is a honeybee label to kill the varroa mite. Use like a 0.625%, and it kills the varroa mite. It doesn't hurt the honeybee.
Interesting.
So it's real safe.
Looking at this, and you might not want me to ask you this.
Ask me.
I've never heard of sucrose as a product, and I'm wondering, Is anyone else doing this?
We're the only ones that have this as an active ingredient. Actually, I think we're probably the only product. I've heard of people say there's sucrose at something else because part of the license, the ability to use sugar esters and something like this is also in a food ripening retardant, as far as on like on vegetables and stuff. It can do that. You can use it as a vegetable wash, whatever, because it's natural occurring and it's like a soap. Actually, put your hands in it. It's not gonna hurt your skin if you want to feel how it feels a little soapy. It has a little bit of a whiff of alcohol smell to it.
I was gonna say the viscosity looks pretty thin. It doesn't
Yeah,
look
yeah.
really
There's a little bit.
oily or thick.
There's a small amount of butanol in there to help thin it. But you can touch your hands. It has a little.
It smells like I'm trying to describe the smell. Like it smells like a hair product.
Yeah, some people. Here's what's funny: when you spray it, we have this reaction. Some people are like, "Ooh, I love that smell. It's kind of sweet," and then some people are like, "Ooh, what is this? I don't like the smell." I'm like, "Well, it's not perfume. We're not trying to sell perfume. We're trying to sell bug
It
stuff."
smells like a cleaning product, but it also kind of smells like a hair product. I don't know, like a hairspray almost, or some kind of shit.
Yeah.
But,
The alcohol whiff is the reason it's butanol or butyl ones. People know it as that. It's the most water soluble alcohol, and the idea is that it helps to thin it. Because if this was at 100% sucrose octanate, it would be, imagine tar or pine sap or something like that. It'd be too viscous, and then it wouldn't spread. So that helps it spread evenly. The butanol doesn't. It's in that final product right there. That's less than 2% butanol, and then when you dilute it down, it evaporates anyway. It's just a type of alcohol.
Just hearing butanol scares me because
I know,
20 is Michael Butanol.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But that's just it's not a large percent. It's just basically part of the process of making it so that it works better.
can you burn with this if you go too hard, too strong? If you
Phyto?
I'm just talking as far, not phyto burn it, but more or less. Say I have a gnarly pesticide infection or gnarly bug infection going on, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going nuclear.
Yeah.
And I want to dump this in at 20 times the strength, something you would never recommend. Am I going to burn the shit out of your plants with this? Because I have a weird feeling that this.
I'll give you an example.
Sucrose isn't necessarily going to burn you up.
No. The pH of that right there concentrated is going to be 6.8 to 7.1. So you're looking at water, right? So it's not acidic or up. Now, what I did before we went through EPA and brought it to the market, I was testing. I was like, I want to see phyto. Can I get phyto? I was spraying it 3, 4, 5%, 3-4 times a day just to see, okay, can I hurt the plant? Because I know it works to kill the bugs, but as often things do good, but then the result is bad afterward, right? So no phyto, no nothing. We actually have there's some off-label uses I'll talk about. I can't recommend them because it's not on the label but as far as off-label uses, we had growers that called us and said, hey, we did this and they did this. So I'll give you a first example. Someone he knew before we even brought it to market was playing with it in Oklahoma, and he was a rockwool grow. And rockwool is sort of notorious. Sorry if I'm not loud enough here.
No, I'm trying to get product on camera.
Okay, gotcha. Rockwool is notorious for root aphids. Everybody out there that grows knows. And he said he was doing an ebb and flow table. It was ebb and flow, I think. And so he was like, I'll try anything, because he had this major problem. And the roots in the little cubes, were little suckers sucking on it. Dosed it with Organishield, and he said like in 3 minutes they died. And then he flushes it out, and it was fine. So there was a root aphid root drench, because the roots are more fibrous. It doesn't de-wax the root, doesn't hurt them at all. The mushroom label already shows you that it's like soil safe. So it was kind of interesting in that. Another application that we have, I won't mention his name, but thank you, Phil, out there, because he's a local master grower here. He's using us because I took some over the other day, and I was like, you don't really have bugs in here, buddy. What do you? And he goes, no, I wanted something that would work on PM, late flower. There's not going to pop a test. This breaks down within 5 days or less. Even if it did show a test, we have the Code of Federal Regulations that it's exempt. And so he uses it in late flower just for PM.
So that answers the question I had, a follow-up question, which is this allowed to be sprayed in commercial facilities in Colorado? There's a list.
We're CDA. We're CDA.
Yeah, there's a list for those that don't understand. There's a list that we have that we are allowed, like, it's only a list of yes and no products. And if you're not on that list, either yes or no, it cannot be used. You know what I mean?
So on the federal level, let me go on the registration side. So this is a EPA registered product. You're familiar with Fit for 25Bs.
Yep.
So they didn't have to prove it. They just had to say, look what's in it. We had to prove everything. The USDA actually did the studies on this, a lot of the field trial stuff. So it's, so I'm saying it's kind of a food, killing bugs on your food. What I like, one of the things a couple of things I'm proud about of the product. One, in the manufacturing side, there's a lot of maybe good things out there, but they make it. It's crap in the environment and all that. There's no downstream waste in this. As a matter of fact, there's one of the solvents that's used. It's a natural occurring solvent, but they recapture it all for the next batch. So it kind of completes that cycle of no downstream environmental impact. The other thing I like about it is so when it breaks down. So if Nathan's a bug and I spray him, or the plant and I spray him, and it starts to bioremediate. One, it does not soak in the plant. Any oils you use pretty much go in the plant, or chemicals are systemic. And so if there's a bug that comes along and there's chemicals in the plant, it bites it and it dies. We don't work that way. We don't go in the plant. We're like this little shield on the outside. Once it kills the bug, or once it's on there and it starts to break down, it breaks down to 4 components. Water, you mix it with water. Sucrose, very small amount, but carbohydrate load to some extent, because we all carbonate our stuff. Fatty acids, the good microbes can eat the fatty acids. CO2.
CO2 is a byproduct? Go ahead.
CO2 is a byproduct.
Should you spray at night with the lights off?
That's,
Can you spray with the lights
that's
on?
the next good question. There's no oils, so you don't have to worry about refraction. And so, yeah, you can leave your lights on. I didn't know that was going to be such a big thing. I liked it because I remember being the slave to my lights. Because once you're in flower, it's like kids. They're more important. You got to do what you got to do. And you can't leave the lights on. This, you can spray them.
It's not oil-based, so you can also use like a sulfur burner. But you mentioned this product.
You don't need
this product works on PM.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when you guys walked in. I thought we were talking specifically like.
I'm not making a claim, but everybody else makes the claim. I can't, what I'm saying, because we're
results are showing.
The results, and we've just got to submit the stuff to add that to the label.
Right.
That's all.
Is it going to add a smell or taste at the end if you're spraying it that late?
No, actually not. That's what I was saying. Shout out to Phil. He's master grower at one of the dispensaries here.
So you cut above Phil?
Huh?
Is it cut above Phil? I know Phil. Okay, different Phil. Never mind.
No. But if Phil's listening, thanks for bringing the diesel back to Denver. So he'll know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, it doesn't cost any taste, and actually he can probably tell you because he's our biggest distributor, or basically our main distributor, and deals with the growers all over the country. And like Ninja's one. Ninja can tell you all about the product, but it doesn't impact taste at all. That was always a question and concern too. The reason we wanted to bring this in the cannabis market, because this has all kinds of applications, is I'm kind of a pothead, but what I saw in Denver, because I was growing, I was medical growing, let's say, and everything started testing coming out, and I was learning this. I didn't know stuff. I'm not an entomologist. I've just 8-9 years of this, studying everything there is about it. This is a perfect thing because the bottleneck that every cannabis product goes through of testing. It's more stringently tested than our food. If they test our food like we do our stuff, we'd probably be in better shape. Mm-hmm. But this will never pop a test, and it's safe to eat, and it still works. Now, here's an amazing thing. This is the thing I had with it, and I'll tell you, we were not the first people with this product on the market. We own it now, but it was under another name, and it was for bees and everything. It was called Organishield. So if anybody out there knows Organishield, I'm not trying to steal their stuff. I know the guys who invented it.
Interesting.
Same people make it. It's the exact same formula. They just mismarketed it. And the time when it got approved originally was 2006, and there wasn't the groundswell for safer products like there is now. Every day there's a bigger groundswell. So I just want to give credit to Tony Barrington, who's dead now, unfortunately, but he was a gentleman who started this process in the 90s of there's got to be something here. He raised the money, did the studies, the USDA did the studies, and all this. There's a great history behind it.
And what exactly, just off track here a little bit, what exactly was the bee thing? Like that was
I'm sorry, take it back.
What did he do for bees, or what was the product used for?
One of the things that the product was sold under, also a brand just for the bee label, was called Pesticide. And it was essentially, so if you're a honeybee grower, you have the trays, and you got to pull them out, and then they spray the trays. So it's a timing thing with that. There's bees will put the little bee larvae, and then they cap them, and so they grow up to become bees inside the thing and then pop out. Well, what happens is these little varroa mites are called the varroa destroyer mite, and that's one of the bee's biggest nemesis. They're real small mites, and what happens is they'll get inside the honeycomb cell, and then the bees cap it in there, and they don't know, and it feeds off the larvae and kills it. So this gets in there, and if they cap it in there with it, it'll kill the mite, but it doesn't hurt the little larvae thing type, because it's such a small dose. The bee dose, this label is going to say 0.8 to 1%. The bee is going to say 0.625. But on the mushroom, because you can do the mushroom casing and all the grow stuff, it's 2.5 if you want, because it's the scared fly and all the stuff that's in your grow medium for mushroom. It's got
what
that.
A really cool, versatile product, and how also that product kind of made its journey, like you said. Yeah. Like this application, it had many applications. So you guys sort of you saw the potential, took it, and you're like, hey, let's spray this on some agricultural plants, if not weed plants, and sell it to the stoners as a safe way to kill your pests or your bugs.
Let me be honest with you. When I first found this, I'm like, when it was Organishield, it was still on the market, and I had a couple places I got them to carry it, and then it disappeared. Because I was like, this is the shit. I wanted, this. I wanted to white label it, obviously. And so by the time I was ready, okay, I want to white label this, I start trying to find out. I want to find the guys. I want to get to her brand. Disappeared. Couldn't find it. And so I bought every drop I could find. And And this poor guy had to listen to it the whole time because I was helping him with the stuff, and he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And so eventually, so basically, I kept everything, and we raised some money. And before I found out the people who make it for us were the original ones, there was a whole history to that. We spent a lot of money trying to reverse it because we didn't know. I couldn't find the people who actually made it. And I forgot how much we spent a lot, but the closest anybody ever got was some major chemical company in Philly or Philadelphia area or Pennsylvania. And the closest they could get on a massive scale was 25%. Well, this is 40%. The people who make it for us make it over 90%. Nobody in the world's made it that concentration.
It's like
them.
Coca-Cola or some shit where it's like
sort of.
there's a secret recipe behind this shit.
Here's the difference is this in some other products like oils. Like I'm not going to name any brands, but most any oil product you tell me it's in it, I'll figure it out and put it in the bathtub and make it 10 times cheaper. This takes 6 to 7 days to make. It's not an A plus B equals C. It's like a multiphasic vacuum distillation, and there's art and science. It's sort of like if I gave you everything to make my grandma's wedding chocolate recipe, but you didn't know how long to cook it, when to bake it, and all that stuff, you'd never be able to end up with the same thing. But let me go to the full circle part. So what I like about there's no downstream waste of making it. We're basically copying nature and making it in a higher concentration so you can use it. Then you kill your bugs. I call it food killing bugs on your food or on your weed. Then after it bioremediates, it goes back into inert things that the environment can reabsorb, so it completes that circle. So there's no the only losers are the goddamn bugs.
Yeah, true sustainability, and like it's a word I hate because everyone loves it's like a buzzword nowadays.
Yeah,
sustainability, but this is truly sustainable, and this is the way you explain it, where it's like it leaves nothing behind except a dead bug carcass, which even biodegrades and helps you in a way too.
One of our hopes for this is, and this is just kind of outreaching outside canvas world, but locust, and I'll just kind of go a little deep pet thing from my heart. Why? That's to me is like the brass ring of helping the world where they have locust issues. So today, the only organic semi-safe locust thing is they have to find the desert locust, and then they inject this bacteria in that little area, and then eventually it kills the dead locust. Well, it's hard to find it, whatever. Right. And then by the time there are locusts and they're coming in, they're eating, boom, 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 eating everything. Well, they spray poisons. One, the poisons gets on the people. Two, it gets on the plants and the soil and all. We know all the environment. I don't have to go to that. And even if it kills the bugs, then the bugs are wasted because that protein and everything the animals can't eat, people can't eat anything. So with us, they could actually crop dust the locust. It's a lot higher concentration, like 3 or 4 or 5%. It would be expensive, but it's cost saving. So it could kill the locust. If it gets on the people spraying, it's fine. This is environmentally safe, crustacean safe, water supply safe, soil safe, all that. But on top of that, it would leave locust dead and able to eat by the people or by the animals or the wildlife or whatever, and then the crops weren't poisoned either, so whatever didn't eat.
It's the Roundup killer. Are you worried like Monsanto's going to come fucking
cut
your head off?
We are worried about the target on our back as we get bigger and bigger. That's why I hope your podcast is big, but don't tell him Monsanto's people. But yeah, it's really a lot of that we. Our goal with this is we're learning new things, and if he wants to share what his boss is doing with it in Australia, I'll let him. But we're learning new things we can do with the substance, and it's almost like I'm like, where's Billy Blanks, and it does this, it does that. But if I came and told you it did this and all these different things I could share with you right now, you'd be like, no, because it's just a substance that happens to have these properties that really does cool. What it is. So our goal with this thing really is every time for every situation that this substance can be used to give the same outcome as another substance. Almost, I'd like to say 100%, but I'll just hedge myself. 95% of the time, we're always going to have a better safety profile. If we can give you the same outcome and give you something safer, what do you not want to do? Yeah. But it's not as cheap yet until as we grow, we're going to scale to try to be competitive with the chemicals. But if you think about chemicals, they're so dirt cheap to make and easy. Yeah. And this is a little more complicated and all that stuff, but it's to me it's worth it. I don't
want to talk prices or anything, but I was curious. Is this one of those jugs in the hydro store that's like $450 behind the shelf? No. We're in the glass case you can't really touch or.
No. We're right there.
That's $45.
Yeah, we're right there with everybody else.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're right there with everybody else. Yeah.
So I think you've got everyone real hyped up. I guess I'll kind of throw it over to you, Nathan. What's going on with distribution of this product? I actually did a little bit of searching on you guys before you came on and reading about it, and a lot of good reviews, but I did notice people were having trouble getting it in like Europe and stuff. So how do people get this product, and is it worldwide, or where do you find this?
Oh, you want me or him? Because
whoever wants to answer it, really.
It doesn't. I mean, we can go together. I mean,
sure. I'll let you take yes first.
Yeah, we're we're a smaller outfit for sure, you know, in terms of distribution. Linking back to who we were, you know, who we are as a nutrient company. Very, very niche market for sure. You know, lending itself to what you were saying before about the craft and, you know, where it's going to go and all that stuff. So we've got, you know, we've got that base, right? So, we're not going to be, the education is not going to be there. The exposure, because this is such a different mind shift of an IPM, if we limit it to just IPM, right? It really isn't, it's more, but whatever. Trying to deliver the message in a way that's real simple without it sounding like a fucking commercial, like what Holt just said, you know, because that's easily, people get excited.
But people don't trust bug sprays anymore, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you're coming in at a time where everyone has a bullshit product on the market, and it all has a fancy label, and everyone's like, okay, I'll fucking try it, and it's a couple $100, and by the time you take it home and try it or whatever, it doesn't kill shit, or it's a specialist of one fucking kind of thing, or it doesn't work at all, or you find out they're sneaking Abbott in the back, or shit has happened in this industry that has made people very untrustworthy.
Let me give an example though. So you remember Mighty Wash?
Oh yeah.
I remember when they got popped because it had pre-trans in it. That was doing the work, and it wasn't the electric. Yeah.
Same as the Guardian or whatever, and Guardian had Abbott in it. Like this shit has happened before, and then it go bankrupt and disappear.
So let me ask you, and this is probably a familiar thing because it was for me, and it probably was you and a lot of the guys. So on your IPM regiment back in the day, what did you do? You had 2 or 3 or however many products, right? And you had to spray because you're worried about one not working or building up a tolerance or whatever, right? And so I call that the spray and pray. You're like, I'm gonna spray and I pray it works. Okay, if that didn't work, I'm gonna spray something else. And the way I look at that with oils, if oils are suffocants, they're trying to suffocate the bug. That's really all they do.
Green cleaner-ish shit.
Exactly, and it has sodium lauryl sulfate in that. I don't want to go bad on them, but you know. So what happens? Okay, I sprayed the bugs. Oh wait, I still have bugs. I better spray again. And all of a sudden, I'm building up oil, and I'm building up oil, and so then they go through. Oh, they'll go to Dr. Zymes. We'll go to another, other thing.
Reminds me of the neem guys, real quick. I know some neem guys. When you go over and touch their shit, it's like 7 years of neem oil on their fucking trays and pots and shit, and you can literally write your name in fucking neem wax. Or
exactly.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So with this, people don't like to hear it, and especially the same people in the same space. I don't is because literally this can replace all your IPM products from clone to cut. Because like I told you about the people I'm not going to claim, but root aphids, people are using for that. There's one guy, shout out to Ghost OG. He uses it for his, he said, my mother's never looked bad. I didn't want to tell anybody because I've been doing this 30 years and my stuff has never looked better. And so I was like, why don't you tell more people? But that's also the challenge. A lot of underground growers this came out of underground growing, the industry. And
no one likes to advertise they have a problem.
That they've ever had a problem. Yes, it's like if you grow, you're going to have bugs at some point. Or you're not a real grower until you've had bugs. Yes. Until you've had bugs eat your crops, you don't know what to grow. It's like weed, right? Until you scraped it, you don't know. So this could literally replace all your stuff. It's food safe in the end. It won't pop a test. You could use it safe enough daily if you want. It's that safe. So like a spider mite thing. Spider mites have that the eggs hatch every 3 times they cycle. So I used to, when we first came to the market, we were Avid expensive. Azimax. So we're Azimax expensive because we're like, we're better than them. We should be the same, but nobody knew what it was. So you could use, I say people spray once, wait a day, spray again, and use it just to make sure you didn't miss anything. But if you want to spray 2-3 times a day, do it. It's not going to hurt them, and it'll take the bugs out. They die because it makes solid contact with them in minutes to hours, literally. But I always say it's like, if there's 3 bugs coming at me and I have a shotgun, the one I got the main blast dies instantly. The others got winged, they may die the next day. Right. It's just that's just the reality of how it functions. But it can technically replace all those things. You don't have to worry about popping a test. You don't have to worry about skin safe. If your dog, I used to have a cat that come in my bedroom and eat the leaves. Oh, yeah. And I was, I love my cat. She died during COVID, but I love my cat. And when I got this, I was like, okay, I'm not worried about it because it's not going to hurt.
Sure. I'm back to just where to find you, and I'm curious because I'm sure you have people interested, but how far and widespread is the product? Are you guys in East Coast, West Coast? Is it a Colorado-based product, or if you're in America, let's start there. Sure. Where do you get this? Is it kind of everywhere, or can you just go straight to your website? How does it work?
Yes.
For the most part, there's the website obviously that
we have a website, but
there's we've got some fairly good strong support in Michigan, Cali. On the northeast, in Florida, Oklahoma.
Representation in stores, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure in terms of where it might go. we've been treading a little bit gently with some of the larger groups through association, that
That's
kind
smart.
of stuff, right?
That's fucking smart.
Initially, when this product was launched, this has been shoestring together, and so we wanted to reach out to without mentioning names, certain groups to try to help us, to get us launched, because it's mate, this isn't a fucking product, mate. It's a big change. It's a movement, So we initially started, and it didn't have that pizzazz that I think a lot of
kickoff factor.
Well, what we were doing was, because I'm a little more matter of fact, I was beating people up with the facts. Everybody sells the sizzle, and the reason the other cannabis products that are, they're for 25B, you get nice fuzzy cartoony labels and all sexy marketing, and you're buying a brand. I'm like, no, this is substance. I mean, or you need a brand to call it something, but I'm like, it does this, and this. I'm gonna beat you up with it. I'm not gonna try to sell the sex part of it, but I should have, because we're trying to make IPM sexy again. But look, I'm not sexy, so we'll have to
I'm sure plenty of people that are listening to this show, though, at the same time are going to go. I mean, this is what you do. You go into your local hydro store and you say, hey, you guys got Organishield. And if they don't have Organishield, you tell them you need to fucking order that shit. And then I'm sure they're going to reach out to somebody like Nathan here or Stone Ninja, and they're going to get that thing ordered. But if you can't get it,
you can go online. We have a website for retail, but we really support the stores. Our goal is to support our stores out there, because that's the way we do business. But we had to put it retail somehow to get it out.
Absolutely.
Here's really, I mean, when it comes down to here's the thing. We've got a great relationship with the. I keep going back to the range that we have, because it's all harmonious, because there's a lot of education that's involved, right? And so over the years we've seen a big shift. When the market was kind of hush hush, the network was the stores, right? Yeah. Then when it took off, all the guys. And no offense to stores these days, but for the most part, a lot of the stores are just...
Shit's changing with the stores. They're becoming giant MSOs themselves.
Right.
Or it's like, it used to be like, hey, what can I do to help you? And now it's like, hey, whatever you need over there, I'll be at the desk when you need, when you bring your shit up, instead of trying to educate and help. So there's that challenge.
Well, we used to have to go in there and ask about our tomato plants, and it was this weird brotherhood of like, it was a big old documentary, The Union.
Yes.
It was a union. And now it's not so much a union as it is going into a fucking super Walmart or some shit.
Well, just like what you were talking about at the top of the thing with all the new scheduling. Yeah, I agree 100%. I could add a bunch of that if I want, but yeah, that's what's causing it. It's going to be Walmart type. They're trying to go that direction.
I'm curious about Europe, just because I saw that people were struggling to get it overseas. What is the challenges you face with a product like this and trying to release it in a different country? I don't know anything about that.
Sure, I'll tell you the ins and outs of it. So yeah, we do have demand in Europe, and we've got guys. It's been submitted to get in the UK. Going through that regulatory stuff. So the challenge is we get painted because it says a biochemical, but it says insecticide, miticide. When people hear that, they hear suicide, homicide, all
biochemical. Can we fly this on an airplane?
Exactly.
What the fuck is this?
Exactly. So it gets painted with the same brush. So there's that fear and regulatory stuff. The process we're trying to get it in the EU. That takes a little bit of time. We're looking into Canada. We have a group that's taking into Mexico and going in Central South America. He has a group that is taking into Israel. We're trying to get it out there, but we're really, those are things that have come to us. It wasn't like, let's go market in these countries. They found out about it, like you said, and they're trying to get it. There's some countries we can actually sell or send small sizes because they can get it in easy that way with their regulatory stuff. It just depends. But the process is to get it in the EU. And one of the things we may have, I won't mention the group that's helping us with this, but we may have a backdoor into the EU and the UK. They have a shortened regulatory period, put it this way. We won't have to go through this long a time. They've submitted it already for the mechanical physical kill, like I told you, because it has no chemical impact on the environment. If we get that in, then we'll be in the EU post-haste really fast after that. So our goal is to be global.
What about Australia? I know there's Australia's watching. You
got
to have it in the homeland, right?
His boss has it.
Mate, it's Holt actually knows a little bit more about what's going on. He's been talking to our company's kind of a little diverse, but it's a broadacre sort of a no-till sustainable farming type practice business, right? And I look after one side of it over here in the US, which is the blue and yellow bottles side. But the whole other side, they're very networked into. I mean, it's Australia, mate. There's a lot of forethinkers that have got to be.
I'm not plugged in Australia, but from what I can tell, cannabis is exploding in Australia. It really is.
It's legal in some of the states there, so it's just
it's very similar to America in a sense, where it's like it is starting to take a wave over the country, but at the same time, seed sales, like pictures, Discord followers, YouTube watchers, like the Aussies are coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They've always had good weed.
Oh no.
But
What you don't realize is most people don't realize a lot of some of the best nutrient. Well, I think is the best nutrient line, but a lot of the good nutrient stuff actually came out of where their company is headquartered in Adelaide. A lot of development. I mean, everybody thinks of Netherlands and all that stuff. Oh yeah, but Australia had a huge impact on that. Yeah, people.
That's
don't
a whole
realize
other show altogether.
Yeah, oh, it is. It is. And if his boss comes in town like he's supposed to in October, maybe if you want us back and you want to hear all that stuff.
Story, yeah.
Oh well, you want to hear, yeah, but you also want to hear the underground side and all these different things. Jeff knows all that stuff.
I'd love to hear that story.
So even like Psycho started right there.
Cool. I think I'm gonna put you on the spot and give away make you guys or force you guys to give away a couple of them samples to the viewers.
Sure.
But before I do, Caesar, did you have anything? I've been kind of doing all the questions over here.
No, there's no questions in the chat so far. If anything, like, this is completely new to me. I've seen it. I've never seen the label, but I've never used it. But I'm definitely interested in trying it out, doing some more.
All right, before we get out of here with these guys, if you guys have questions in the chat or I missed a glaring question, now's your chance to fire it off in the chat. Caesar will read it and spit it out here. But with that said, I think maybe we do a couple of these little sample bottles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Before we do that, what is the rate that you the standard rate you're using for like you say, a catch-all?
A catch-all that our growers tell us is 2%, and that's why this is a 80 milliliter bottle. So 2% mixed in the gallon is 40 milliliters is 1, 80 is 2. So the reason we did this is one of our biggest questions was how much do you mix? And like, it's on the bottle, but people want to know. So if you take this, it'll make either a gallon of what I call super strength or 2% for infestations. The reason, if you have infestation, especially in the cannabis, the longer the bug's sucking on the plant, the more money it's taken out. So you want to kill it fast. So a little higher concentration, 2%, knocks them out. The cool thing with this, let me go back to when I told you in the beginning, I found this and I said why I knew it was going to be a good thing. I came back from, let's say, a drive from the West Coast, and my buddy was taking care of my grow, and he said, I think you got mites. And then I get back and I had circus tents. If you know what what you experience. Anybody who laughs, and they know. So normally, what do you do when you have circus tents? Tell me what the traditional thing is. Even if you kill the bugs, what do you have to do to get rid of the webs?
I was gonna say fucking cut it and fucking burn everything.
Well, okay. Or the other thing is what? A shot vac and suck the web off. Right? Yeah. Okay. And then when you spray most things on spider mite webs, the web mats down and sticks to the plant, and then that's why you have to vacuum it off. So what still freaks me out to this day, and it's been over 10 years, is at 2%, this will dissolve the mite web. If it worked on spider webs, I probably wouldn't be here and Spider-Man would hate me, but I'd be super rich then. But this is, it works on mite webs, and for whatever disease, and at 2%, it starts breaking it down and into a solution or something, and this goes away. It's amazing how it does that. I don't know why, but when I first saw that happen in my eyes, I was like, that's why I wanted the white label at that point.
Really cool product. Also, for those that can't see on the bottle, you have the measurement on the bottle, and this is such a simple thing. Like you mentioned before, everyone wants to have these colorful bullshit bottles, but a practical application bottle where you can accurately dose with the squeeze of a finger is, I don't know, Age Old does this, and I fucking love it. And I don't know that many, a few companies do, but it's not, you're not the only guys doing it. To do this means this isn't, person who designed this understands, like, the annoyingness of having a shot glass or having a fucking milliliter beaker thing or whatever. It's like, you can mix it right there in there. A couple of squirts, dump, squirt, dump. Like, it's genius. If you've never experienced a bottle like that, I invite you to try it.
We just roll out the quart size too. That's just a copy of this, but just twice the size.
When do you stop?
Stop what?
Spraying.
Stop spraying as far as when the bugs
can go up to harvest, but technically, I mean, when would you recommend stopping your spraying on a plant product, or I'm sorry, a food product, or potentially cannabis you're going to smoke
before you're going to harvest?
Oh, got you. You know, so you don't like smoke something that might be there. Is that okay? So essentially, like I said, in the food rating thing, it's even in our literature, it's day of harvest safe to spray. Like if you were a vegetable, I'd say spray, harvest, eat same day, right? But as far as bioremediation, if you're worried about smoking it or thinking I might smoke something in it, and obviously. The concern to me in the beginning was because I knew it was a sugar ester and I didn't understand sugar esters and what makes them different than sugars. But I was thinking, well, if I didn't flush my plants good enough back in the day, then I'm going to have that sugar burn, and that was accurate. This bioremediates itself in 5 days. So if you cut today and you sprayed today, are you going to be able to smoke in 5 days?
It depends where you live, but in the,
But
if you're in the driest place in the world, maybe. But really, no.
You're not going to want to hash it.
No, actually, it won't hurt it doesn't hurt the hash either, because as far as
Like
after it's dry,
fresh freezing it or freezing it right away.
fresh
at
freezing
harvest.
it. If you let's say if you were concerned about that, and 5 days before you cut, it's gone.
Essentially,
it actually could be less than. It's really an environmental thing. The way it breaks down is oxidation. So once you spray it, needs to if it makes good wet contact with them, it'll leave a little shine on the leaf, but in 3 to 5 days it's gone. So it shouldn't be a concern. We haven't heard any things. We've heard. Yeah, I was more concerned about the taste, like you were asking about, was the flavor. Didn't impact that at all.
How hard was it to get the USDA organic label?
Actually, that came with it in this respect. I told you guys in the beginning that it's considered a food grade, and then the USDA did the testing on it, but it's on the National Organic Product List. And the substances, because they don't do brands on that. And with the National Organic Product List is different. It's also ORMI. And everybody knows ORMI. Not everybody knows NOSB. The NOSB is a federal thing. It's a National Organic Standards Board. And you have to go through all this process, and then they only list things. And if it's on that list and you're certified organic, you have to use something on that list or you can't keep your certification. So that's how it got the food safe rating. With back then, because it was a food safe before it became an insecticide, because it was a sugar ester.
Are you guys gonna go Amari? I heard it's kind of a racket.
What is
Amari listed?
What's I'm not sure if that.
I don't know what it stands for, but
Omri.
Sorry,
we're Omri.
No,
we're Omri. Yeah, let me give you
My
the
bad.
difference in Omri, because we're Omri certified. Now Omri is good to some extent, and I don't want to pick on them because I don't want to lose certification, but in some ways I look at it as sort of not pay for play, but sort of.
Kind of what I heard.
They're for profit. Well, they do supposedly do studies, but they're for profit. So the NOSB is federal, and they already make money on our taxes, so it's not designed for that. Now there's a thing out there called OCal, and everybody knows California thinks that they're on their own country. Well, their OCal is Organic California, and we're on the OCal substance list for organic. There's no certified organic cannabis yet. There's hemp, but we're on that list for them.
Which is probably one of the more stringent or strict lists, kind of what you're saying.
I think they sort of. I'd like to say that because California, I love California, but man, the regulations there. But I think they just take straight at that part because we're on the NOSB, and they did all the rigorous stuff the government does to do that. Because think of all the certified organic farms across the U.S. You can only use what's on there. So they could use us. And even though I told you we synthesize this, but it's a copy of an organic molecule, so they allow it to be used if you're that. That's why also organic mushrooms and that kind of thing.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Last question. What was it? Can you ship to Canada?
We have. Canada, but it got popped a couple times. Essentially, I'll give you an idea, but I'll go back to the sugar ester thing. This is sugar ester. It's a food grade, and technically, sugar esters have an HS code. An HS code is a homogenized shipping code that's a universal. When you ship, import, export, it has to have a code with it. So, being it's an ester, esters are surfactants. There's a surfactant code, but there's also a sugar ester other than. Because sugar esters, like I said, is a big classification. It's used as food. It's in your cosmetics and stuff. So we can get around it that way. But when we say insecticide, then where's your regulate? Then it pops
red flags pop up.
Yes. It's not. Well, I'm gonna make a joke. I love governments, but the logic is not always there. Is the box checked? Is what's there.
But you also mentioned you guys are working on it, so you're working on some distribution points out there. You can probably get it manufactured out there.
And actually, if you want to add to it, it's in the process of getting brought into Canada right now. It's just got submitted to the CD thing.
In time, Canadians, it's coming towards you.
Yeah. Hey, Canadians, I love you guys. I talked to one of you guys on the phone today. And you guys just really made your regulations a lot harder.
So I'm going to give away a couple bottles of this. I guess it's going to be for U.S. only. Sorry, guys.
It's free!
All right. You guys are on it. Let's make Nathan do it in his best Aussie commercial vibe ever. Hold that bottle up and just smile for the camera and tell everybody... if you'd like to win this, what number are they gonna have to be? We'll have them do it traditional way. We'll send it to you, but you have to send an email to darkhorsegeneticslive@gmail.com. And Nathan, what number is it going to be that is the lucky one?
The lucky
winner?
number. What do we? What random up to what? What do we
Go
think?
from
0 to
50,
300.
yeah, 50 to 300, somewhere in there.
Because the normal number would be 420, but
I mean, we can go all the way to 420.
No, I'm
you
just
just want me
kidding.
to count that high.
No, I'm just
that's
kidding.
like, 297.
Number 297, the 297th person to email darkhorseinindexlive@gmail.com is going to win what? Are you guys going to do the big one or the smaller ones, or what do you want to do?
How about? I wouldn't mind giving away 2 of these. I got
Two of the
these.
bigger ones?
Yeah,
Okay, and what? That's a quart right there?
That's a
Pint.
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 It's a pint. It's only at 1.2%. So I mean, this is going to go a long way, man.
Pint is such a non-American term.
I know it isn't. Yeah. It is. It's British.
You're going to get a pint of Organishield coming up.
Well, it is safe enough to drink. So.
So in the subject line, I want you to write the 292nd, or what do you say, second? 7th.
297.
Seems like
297.
a lot, man.
297th person, I want you to write Organishield in the subject line. And we're going to do a second number. Go ahead, Nathan. What's the second number?
298.
The very next fucking person, all right?
Yeah, man, you don't want to be that one guy, right?
That's great, actually. No one's ever done that in the history of this show, so that's cool.
And he's not even high yet.
Yeah. 298. Yeah, you guys are going to win. We'll pick 2 of you guys this week. So good luck. We'll ship it to you. It has to be U.S. only, guys, because customs will steal it, apparently, until they get this international sorted out. But, yeah, very cool, guys. I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Did we have any last questions or anything before we get out of here, Cease?
Half-Life.
Oh, sure. Okay. As a concentrate, 3-year shelf life at minimum. Now, I have product that's probably 10 years old that still works the same.
Half-Life, not shelf life.
Oh, half-life. Okay. How long? 5 days and it's gone.
Okay, cool.
Well, after you sprayed it. But there's a question that comes with that, though. They ask for the shelf life, and the other people say, well, I didn't use it all when I mixed it up. So how long after whatever's left of that didn't spray? That's a common question. And the answer is, I have a bottle at home that's over 9 months old, because I'll spray bugs out of the air with it, and shake it up. If you have something left over, shake it up and rehomogenize it and spray it again. It's fine. The way it breaks down is oxidation. So, but I'm just going to recommend people use it within 3 months of mixing it, not in the concentrate. But
they were, I think, specifically asking about residual half-life on the plant, but
Yeah.
your
After
answer
you spray
is
it, how long is it?
it's
out
literally
of the plant?
hours.
how long? Yeah, it has limited residual activity. So what's going to happen is when it dries, a little leave a sheen on the plant. And does that kill a bug? No, but if a bug bites it, it makes it not want to eat. That's about it. But if it makes contact with the bug, it could ingest it and get it that way in the next day. But it has to make physical contact to really do its work. So Nathan was going there with this, and I think we touched on it. It was the application, using the application has been our hardest part because people are used to spraying poisons and you just get it in a plant somewhere. So we've had to tell people spray underside first because that's where all the bugs hang out. And if you spray the top side first, it folds down and they can't get underneath there with the spray.
So half-life is 5 days.
Half-life is 5 days at maximum.
6 days, I'll test it. It's not going to show.
At
It
5
won't
days,
show.
you might not show. And you would have to
are
get
we
someone
testing
tested and do an
for?
assay on it. So even if you did a spectral, like the spectrometer thing, you're going to show, there was some sucrose in there at one point. That's about all you're going to register in that. So, but yeah, 5 days at most on your plant, and that's at most, and that's environmental conditions. And if you would like, and if you have people who are interested in this, I can share with you the old EPA stuff and all the interesting data. If you want to geek out on it and share it with your people, I'll be happy to email you that.
Email
stuff.
it to me. I'll add it to attachment to this podcast, which
Okay.
will live on YouTube forever, pretty much. But
Sure. Be happy
you guys have social medias, websites. Where do you want to direct people who have questions or want to talk to you guys?
Organishield.com is fine, and congratulations to the people who win this. We are going to roll out. Our intention is in the next 2 weeks or so to roll out a new website with a new. Actually, I know this is bad timing, but a new logo. And just you guys will appreciate that. So you see the logo there, right? It looks like a badge. So we actually put it on a shirt. And we had a guy go in there to a grocery store, and the guys are behind the counter token up. And the guy they thought he was a cop
Immediately.
Yeah, and so we're like, okay. So now we're got a new logo. It's going to come out. It's going to look nice and clean.
Stoner friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And make it a little different, but yeah, they can go to the website and get it and check it out. Ask questions, and people email there. A lot of times, anybody who's listening to this that's ever talked to me, they know one of us will usually either respond to your email or I'll get your number and call you and help you troubleshoot any problems you're having. We do this as long as we can. The bigger we get, the harder it becomes to get that personal attention. But we'll add more people to give that because we want to. The idea is to be the service. Not just have a good product, have good service.
Very cool. All right, guys. I want to thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you,
Thanks for
sir.
coming down and doing it in studio. I really appreciate you
Thanks.
guys. Organishield, check them out.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, before we get out of here, let's talk about sponsors real quick. I noticed Dutch is in the chat. Thanks, Dutch. What's up? I noticed he put another order in today. Dutch is one of the best seed buyers of all time, but he's also a really cool dude and a sponsor of this program. He's here almost every week hanging out, and he's a much bigger YouTuber than us. Has a massive channel and a massive Twitch. He's a really smart guy, and he is all about readiness, preparedness, growing good cannabis. But his YouTube channel specifically is really cool as it relates to earthquake tracking, earthquake mapping, and just all the crazy shit that's happening with planet Earth. Go check out his channel. You'll learn something. It's a dash of conspiracy theory, a dash of education, a dash of like legit bug out bag readiness, preparedness. And Dutch wants you to be prepared. But yeah, Dutch, Sense, let me do this proper. Go follow Dutch Sense at YouTube and Twitch. Right now, give him a sub. Like I say, he's a really cool dude. C Bazaar Premium subscriptions, memberships. Go check out that, cbazaar.com. That's where you can find Dark Horse Genetics among many other breeders, including T.H. Caesar, who's NY Seeds over there. Yeah, go ahead and get a premium membership where you can support the breeders year-round. We appreciate that. And while I'm on that topic, Pay What You Want. We got a couple emails this morning, people asking what's going on with Pay What You Want. Specifically, all the Pay What You Want should be out by, I believe, tomorrow afternoon. I printed the last round of the shipping labels tonight. I've said this many times before, but if you get a shipping email, all that means is that we've created and printed your label, and you're now in a stack of like 100 at a time that are getting boxed up and shipped out. And there was a ton of them. So I really appreciate all you guys for doing the Pay What You Want. And it does take me a minute to get through them because they're almost all custom and specific. People want certain things, so I have to go track it down, pack 3 seeds of this or that. It's not as easy as just grabbing seeds off a shelf and throwing them in the box and getting it going. So the Pay What You Want, I should have clarified ahead of time that they take me a little bit longer to get through. And honestly, I'm limited on help at the moment, so I'm doing a lot of it myself. So I apologize if it's taking a little bit longer, but I think I'll have it all through probably the end of the day tomorrow. But I do thank all of you guys for doing the Pay What You Want, and all orders on C Bazaar should be caught up tomorrow, and there was about a 10-day gap there, so apologies on that.
Everybody's used to Amazon. Amazon has a whole fulfillment warehouse. I mean, here we're just like 1 or 2 people.
Toker Poker, which I don't have one in my pocket. This is going to be probably our last Toker Poker shot. I keep saying that every week, but I love Toker Poker. Toker Poker is a really cool device. Matter of fact, I'm sure I do have one. It's right here. I always have it. I can't lie. It's a really cool device. Has a poker, has a tamper. You can wrap Pipwick around it. Holds a bic. And they gave us, I don't know, about 2,000 of these to pass out. We're totally out of them now, but I still love them so much. I think I have 3 left. So I really, Toker Poker, if you're listening, I need more. And I'll keep plugging it every week, but I need way more Toker Pokers. These are the most stolen thing from me of all time.
You had 3.
I can't hold on to these. Yeah, I had 3.
You're going to have 1 when we leave.
Yeah, Toker Poker. Go give them a follow, tokerpoker.com. They can print cool shit on them for you. And I think that's about it. Also, 100K Grand Prix. I want to talk about this just really briefly. It's time to get serious with the 100K Grand Prix. We have too little of entries right now where I'm not confident in saying we're going to reach the 100K mark unless we really start ramping it up. And if not, I need to disclose that the contest to everyone is going to be a winner-take-all prize pool. So whatever that prize may be, but it's still scheduled to happen. And I do expect a bunch of people to rally in the last few months here to sign up. I would sign up in the last few months. I wouldn't sign up way in advance. But 100K Grand Prix is coming December 1st through the 3rd. It's a winner-take-all cash prize tournament, a head-to-head tournament style, like a bracket, March Madness style, over 3 days. If you enter, you are a judge. You are part of it. So you need to sit there for about 2 to 3 hours and consume about 8 rounds of cannabis or hash. We're doing a hash contest. We're also doing a flower contest this year, assuming we get enough participants on the hash side. It's been a little slow on the hash side. So let's get those hash numbers up so we can have that contest. Let's get more people going on the flower thing. And yeah, we are less than 100 days away, I believe. We're getting real close to December 1st through the 3rd, the week after MJ BizCon. Hang around. It's literally MJ BizCon ends Friday. This contest starts Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. Is that right? I'm not sure of the exact days of the week, but December 1st through the 3rd, and it's going to be right after MJ BizCon. So come to Las Vegas. On the 3rd, you can come down to the party where we're going to consume all the leftover cannabis from all the people that didn't win, which is about 3 pounds or more. We got to smoke it all that day because we can't take it home. It'll be an open bar. You can hang out. You can meet everybody. You can chill. And it'll be a fun party. It's just going to be a nice time. So everybody come to Las Vegas December 1st to the 3rd. Go to 100kgrandprix.com and get signed up. I think that's it, guys, this week. Anything else? You got anything?
Yep, I'll be in New York tomorrow. If anything, I'll see y'all for Labor Day. Got some deal going on. Follow my Instagram and Discord to find out what's up.
All right, everybody. We're out of here. Peace. Thank you once again, Organishield, coming down.
Thanks, guys.
Little pirate gay fish, come sit on my shoulder today. Little gay parrot fish, sit on my shoulder today and make me a fried shrimpy dish with some soy sauce, baby. As the beat drops, super fries. Super fry egg roll, triple fry rice, triple fry rice, baby. 2 for 1 egg roll, super triple fry rice, triple fry rice, baby. Don't forget the soy sauce, chan chan chan. There's my gay fish song, dudes. What?